Began with El Monte Police Department chasing the suspect after he allegedly stole this black Toyota Corolla. Inside the back of the car, we see it is packed with a number of items. Perhaps that's part of the reason why the suspect allegedly took the car. CHP has now taken over the chase, and you can see here he is still going northbound on the 101 through Sherman Oaks right now, passing near to Van Nuys Boulevard.
As we zoom in closer there, you can see that it looks like that driver has one hand on the wheel. If we did get a different vantage point, which we have seen earlier, Ross, it looked like he had something near his ear and he was talking. So it did look like possibly on the phone. Again, a lot of times we see them possibly talking to family members saying, hey, pull over. That is the best thing you can do in these types of situations. Right now, it looks like only about one CHP car is following this driver through the 101. If we get more of a zoomed out look, maybe we'd see more, but right now we're pretty much just seeing that one CHP patrol car trailing this vehicle.
That's right. This Toyota Corolla is still traveling northbound on the 101, followed right very close. In fact, it looks like CHP is moving in much closer here and relatively clear lanes. It looks like he might be taking an exit. If we can pull out a little closer, it's a little difficult to see. Here he's passing by Haskell Avenue, we believe. This has really only been going on for a few moments, and it is surprising that he's going at a relatively slow speed. That's a good sign, and again, a very good sign that in these 6 or 7 lanes of traffic, they are relatively clear. We haven't seen any sudden or dramatic actions as of yet, but again, this chase just starting. Initially started with El Monte Police, now at least one CHP car following closely behind.
Yeah, we're seeing that right now. As you can see, it looks like traffic building up maybe just a little bit on the 101 through the Encino area. As you mentioned, Russ, we haven't seen too much abrupt movement for this driver, staying in their lane, which at least is not posing a major threat to everyone around them. And that's why these situations can be just so severe and so dangerous. But right now, this driver just about 62 miles per hour down the 101.
And you know, when we zoom in as close as we can get here by Chopper, you can really see that this appears to be a young man in the driver's seat. He appears to be the only occupant. It looks like he's rolled down the window. We don't know if that's going to be later an attempt to throw something out. He could possibly be carrying a weapon, but we have had no reports of that yet. This young man appears to be very calm, and we've seen a close-up just a few moments ago, just driving and apparently talking on the cell phone with just one arm, his left arm there on the steering wheel. Much more casual drive than we've seen in the past. He's currently going at speeds just in the 50s. Looks like he's turning.
Yeah, he was trying to get, well, he was going to get off the freeway, and now he's not. But you can see one hand. Does it look like, maybe I couldn't be mistaken, it looked like maybe it came out the window, but or it just like kind of lifted higher.
Yeah, in fact, you get a really good look at this guy right now. And of course, if you know who this is, call CHP or El Monte Police right now, please. It looks like he is gesturing and perhaps talking to someone. In fact, it's pretty clear at this point. It looks like he's talking to someone. It looks like he has a cigarette in that right hand as well. Now he's motioning and screaming out to people on the street as he tries to pass them. If I'm guessing, since he's only going about 25 miles an hour here on the 101 North near White Oak Avenue, that he's trying to motion people out of the way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's definitely trying to talk to someone or signal to something. I wonder if we can zoom out here and see, are there any cars next to him? Is he maybe just talking on the phone on speaker and just waving his, obviously we can see that he is making a lot of motion with his hands. It looks like he's having some sort of conversation, and at this point not stopping, but speeds at 39 miles per hour, very slow for the 101.
Yeah, and you know, if you look in the back of the car, you can see some of the items we saw in there. In fact, it almost looks like there might be a helmet or something of that sort in the back seat. We're getting very little information from El Monte Police right now, but Apparently, they're telling us that he failed to yield to officers about 20 minutes ago, and that's why they pursued him. Since then, they've determined that this car is most likely stolen. The suspect has been driving for about 15 to 20 minutes now. It looks like he's just getting off the road here on the exit.
Yeah, coming about 25 miles from El Monte, we know, to this area, maybe even more now because they are in the Encino area. But as we've seen, this driver now getting off the 101. This is the first time we've seen this driver actually get on side streets here and getting stuck in a bit of traffic there at a light, Ross.
Yeah, and this is when it starts to get dangerous, even though he's going slowly. He's obviously not obeying traffic signals right there, just speeding through that intersection. Fortunately, no one in his way right now, but this is really where it can start to get dicey, right? Mm-hmm. People not seeing this car coming, speeding down the road. This person is fleeing authorities, no telling how amped up he is and what he could possibly do. Now we see 2 CHP units following him down White Oak Avenue right now.
Yeah, through Encino. And in a moment, we are going to have to do some other news for just a bit. So if you hear us take off to that, but this will still be what you are looking at. This is a driver that CHP is pursuing, started in El Monte, now through the Encino area, White Oak and Bullock Street. We know this person wanted for possibly stealing this vehicle, this Toyota Corolla. And you can see that driver signaling, moving a lot in the front seat. We're continuing to monitor this and trying to get more information from police on just what more that driver maybe wanted for and where this car came from, where they took this car from.
And you're following this with us from Sky 2 on CBSLA.com. We're going to be joining CBS News here in just a few seconds, so stand by and switch over with us, please. Next on CBS 2 News at 6. Next on CBS 2 News at 6, cars stuck in the mud, water everywhere, storm serving up
Area this driver wanted for possibly stealing this Toyota Corolla. Now through the Lake Balboa area, CHP pursuing this driver down the 101, Ross. Now they're here through the streets of Lake Balboa going about 43 miles per hour.
As you say, it began in El Monte around 15 minutes ago with El Monte police. CHP picked it up once they crossed over the 60 freeway. Right now, they're on Louise Avenue and Welby Way in Lake Balboa, and we've seen some close-ups inside that car. It looks like there's one person in there. It is unknown whether he is armed in any way. The car appears to be packed with all sorts of boxes and items. At one point, it looked like we saw some sort of helmet. Mostly, this car was traveling northbound on the 101 and then got off on these side streets just a few minutes ago. And the speeds have been relatively calm, around 30 miles an hour for the last 5 minutes or so. And fortunately, Leslie, not many cars in this driver's way or in the path of danger.
Yeah, but CHP wanting to put a stop to this immediately because they don't know just how dangerous this suspect can be, given they do believe that they stole this car. And Ross, we have seen this person just gesturing, making a lot of gestures with his hands, even looking like he was yelling. At some point, we thought he might be on the phone. Then we looked and it looked like he was using both hands to just gesture out and yell out. So you have to wonder what's happening mentally with him and what's happening in this vehicle. You see him right there, put his hand out of the window. At one point, we also saw he came to a stop when he came to a light, and CHP actually got out, had their guns drawn, but the driver did not stop. They kept going, and this is where we are now through Lake Balboa as they continue this pursuit.
And oddly, along the way, this driver has appeared to be relatively calm. At one point, a cell phone in the hand. At another point, a cigarette in his hand. At other points, his hands outside the window as he was screaming to people. But when we've seen him driving with his left hand on the steering wheel, that window rolled down, he really has not been frantic at all. He's been relatively calm. And in his driving, fortunately, as well, as he comes to a stop right here, somewhat calm and nothing extremely bizarre or dangerous.
And now you do see him try to go over traffic, and you know, it looks like there was possibly a red light because everyone else is stopped there.
Yeah.
And now getting more aggressive, and that is what you don't want to see in these situations, especially when we're seeing him kind of just lash out with his hands. It looks like he's yelling. You have to wonder at what lengths he's going to go to continue this pursuit.
Yeah, CHP continues to follow him here. It must be crystal clear to him that they are not going to just let him go. He's starting to speed up once again. And John and Sky, too, if we can pull out just a little wider and get more of a sense of exactly where he's going. We know he's on Van Owen Street and Valjean Avenue in Van Nuys right now. And you can see it's a good sign that that street relatively clear. 3 CHP cars behind him. In fact, coming right up here. That's about as close as we've seen them get here as he slows down a little for the intersection. Obviously, a dangerous situation as he tries to wave people on. At least he is trying, it appears, to signal people what he's doing. But there can be no mistake that this is clearly illegal, clearly dangerous. Avoid the area if this is where you're watching from right now, because there's no telling what this guy's going to do.
Yeah, and I'm listening to our producer, and I believe we are working to get some of our retired law enforcement experts on the phone with us. When that happens, of course, we'll bring it to you. Take a look. He's making a left now onto these, I would say, just definitely smaller streets, maybe more residential streets. Goes right through what looked like maybe an intersection there, possibly where a stop sign was, and you can see about 3 CHP vehicles now trailing him. You see the chopper overhead as well. That's going to be the eye in the sky for authorities. As this driver, again, Ross, you can see it looks like possibly have both hands on the wheel right now. At times we have seen them signaling at other drivers, kind of waving them away, and you just kind of have to wonder what mental state this person is in right now.
Yeah, what is going on as he turns off Gloria Avenue right here? At least he's going below 10 miles an hour. Maybe he's going to be coming to a stop here on Hart. It looks like he's getting more entrenched here in the side streets. But that window rolled down, that happened about 7 minutes ago, and we were wondering perhaps maybe this guy has something in the car that he's trying to throw out. We've seen that many times before. So far from CHP and El Monte Police, we don't know whether they believe this suspect is armed. They will treat him, though, of course, as if he is, and of course, he is armed with that car.
Yeah.
Clearly a danger for police as he continues to race down Hart Street here, and the speeds slowing down as he makes this turn.
Looks like he's
with
coming
some traffic.
to a much larger intersection, much
On
larger
Woodley.
street there. Yeah, Woodley Avenue down Van Nuys. Looks like some people passing him by, and he's going to keep going. Again, we haven't seen authorities make any moves when it comes to spike strips, or they haven't tried or attempted a pit maneuver there. That's because for majority of the time, this person was on the 101. Many times that is just too dangerous to do. But now we have seen them for the last, I would say, 10 minutes now on these side streets. And this is when we do see law enforcement try to make some type of tactic to stop the driver. Right now, we have not seen that, as possibly because these are still very crowded streets, especially Sherman Way now in Woodley through Van Nuys can get especially crowded.
And we're hearing now from some sources that we're getting into an area where we believe that they may be trying a pit maneuver here coming up because the area is much more sparsely populated, at least on the streets. And as we see CHP perhaps try to move in, it looks like we might be getting to a point where they try to stop this car as he turns here.
Making
Here
an
we go.
abrupt turn, right? Trying
Yeah.
to get to the left lane there abruptly, making that U-turn now, headed the other direction. And of course, we don't want to always give too much information when it comes to where exactly they're going to be doing that, but we are hearing possibly using some sort of tactic to stop the driver. That looks like, is he coming to a stop or making a turn here? It looks like possibly
Look, it looked
making a
almost
turn
like
there. Yeah, we're getting a better look at that vehicle, right? As we mentioned before, when we looked inside it earlier, it looked very packed with stuff. Although police telling us that they believe this suspect maybe stole this Toyota Corolla that they're currently driving.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, look, he can clearly see CHP's chopper in the sky. He sees the units behind him. He knows there is no way he's going to get away from officers at this point. That's when you have to worry that this guy may be starting to get desperate.
Yeah.
He's acting erratically. Clearly, he's trying to talk to people through the window, and we can't even see that there's anyone on the street that could hear. So maybe he's ranting and raving at this point. Earlier, when we looked in the car, he looked relatively calm, actually. It was somewhat shocking to see him just driving as if no one was following him or a chopper wasn't in the air. But now we see him a little more frantic, gesticulating a little bit more outside of that window.
Yeah, just you see him sometimes just stick his hand out there, but it looks like he's going through Leadwell Street right now and Haskell through Van Nuys, coming through a lot of those speed bumps through this neighborhood. He's going 20 miles per hour, so it's not doing much damage to the vehicle. Stopping here at a stop sign and now getting back onto another major roadway there. You could see.
Looks like he's getting on to Haskell there, so
Yeah.
about 5 or 6 lanes there as we start to get a better vantage point. Of course, this is a more dangerous situation, more cars on the road, and here he is crossing over into the oncoming traffic right here on Haskell, turning into a parking structure perhaps here. This could be the end of this pursuit.
Well, this is where things can definitely get dangerous, and the area you don't want to, we can't see what's happening because it looks like he drove right into this parking garage here with 3 or 4 CHP vehicles right behind. And of course, we don't know if he's stopping. Is he complying to commands? Of course, that's what we hope. But we're working to get any information if we can hear anything on our scanners or from law enforcement. It looks like some of those CHP officers aren't running, and we talk about that a lot. Their demeanor, they're not running to the scene, so you kind of wonder, did this suspect give up?
You know, and it's such a difficult situation for CHP.
Okay,
right?
you
There
see
we
someone running there, you wonder, is that the suspect?
That does seem to match the description. Of course, we can't be entirely sure. He's jumping over a wall here. It looks like he had something in his pocket, perhaps something there in his right hand. Maybe
it looks like
it's
a cell phone in a right hand. Again, we do not know if this is the suspect because look, you can see that this driver is, or this person, excuse me, now walking very calmly. You have to wonder, was he in this area and then left?
Yeah.
Again, we are working to get information. This person looks like to be on the phone.
Yes.
On the phone calling someone. So I'm assuming this is not the suspect. Police did not go after this person. That person looks like they're not videotaping the situation.
Yeah.
Again, we do not know who that person is. But we are waiting to get information from authorities right now.
Yeah, we don't know if that is the suspect, although he does appear to be wearing something similar, but we won't know until officers go through there. And you see someone else here running on the right side of your screen here. That looks perhaps
looks like a camera crew, possibly. Very dangerous situation when they get so close like that. But you know, so many officers.
Mother with her child, which is not good. It only emphasizes how dangerous it is every time someone does this. We understand now, breaking, that one person has been taken into custody. We believe that is the driver inside that garage. That is good news as we see a mother and her child walking right by this crime scene where this pursuit all the way from El Monte ended, something that's been going on now for about a half hour.
Yeah, and you can see all the cars that are now driving around, the police vehicles there that pretty much had to stop abruptly to try to get this driver to stop. But again, we are hearing that one person is in custody after this pursuit stopped there for us when that driver entered this parking garage.
And if you're just joining us, this all began around 5:45. We had reports from El Monte Police that a suspect had stolen a black Toyota Corolla and had raced out of the city. Then CHP took over the chase, which was largely on the 101 North, until it ended here in this parking structure. Just moments ago, we're hearing from CHP that one person has been taken into custody without incident. Of course, it's a breaking story. Any new information, we'll get it out to you in this newscast. All right, on to our other top story at this hour. Water and mud trapping cars and flooding through parts of